In IGN's review of Uzumaki's first episode, we said we were excited to see if the full series could stick the landing, while also worrying that 4 half-hour episodes didn't provide enough breathing room for the story of a small Japanese town seized by a horrifying curse. If that series premiere felt like it went by fast, every subsequent episode performed world record speedruns through Junji Ito's revered horror manga, moving so quickly it's surprising none of the characters no-clipped through a wall, and with some of the terrible composition work in the anime that may not look out of place. There's no room to contemplate the horrific events we've just witnessed, nor any mounting suspense. There's simply a 28-minute timer and a creative team treating every second of screen time like a hurdle. The anime both distills Uzumaki down to its core essentials and remixes when parts of the story take place. It does so without sacrificing any major pieces of the plot, an admirable attempt at a comprehensive adaptation that's flawed in its execution. Some of this abbreviation makes sense for TV. It's good that production IG, USA, and Adult Swim found a way to focus episodes 2 and 3 on what's happening at the high school and hospital, respectively, in the town of Kurozu-cho. Scenes taking place in these settings are spread throughout the manga, so this is just efficient storytelling. Yet, it also robs some of Uzumaki's most chilling concepts of their impact, practically rendering them into non sequiturs. Consider the return of the character popularly known as Jack in the Box at the very end of episode 3. A cheap scare irrelevant to the preceding scene and without any resolution to Kiri's guilt over his death in the previous episode. It's enough to make you wonder why he's included at all, especially when episodes 1 and 4 are happy to cut out material from the manga that would have been nice to have but wasn't essential to keep. Major character arcs are made much stranger with this blending of events. Protagonist Shuichi's sensitivity to spirals and his rush to blame them for everything reads on the page like a paranoid obsession stemming from the horrors that have taken his family away. But the anime plays it like he's correctly examining the world around him. We now get a single shot of Shuichi reacting to his mother's death before continuing on with the story, where in the book the loss causes him to sit at home alone for weeks, becoming emaciated and gaunt. These comparisons aren't made solely for the sake of pointing out differences between the manga and the anime. It's more that the series makes choices that intend to get this story over and done with, rather than trying to convey them with devastating emotional poignancy.
親父は自らの体を渦巻きにするために桶に入ったんだ。そして全身の骨が砕けて死んだ。
Where the first episode demonstrated some clever use of motion, adding extra flair to already striking visuals, the later episodes have trouble even getting the still images right. Keiko, the bloodthirsty mother whose newborn has been stitched back into her womb, is one of the most notoriously horrifying spectacles in the manga. When Kiri finds her on the operating table, Keiko is framed entirely in black, and given the darkened shadows around her solid white eyes, there's no indication that she's still alive. Here, her appearance hits with no impact whatsoever, removing most of the shocking detail and adding in the sights and sounds of Keiko breathing, undercutting the manga's shock when she stirs awake a few panels later. The series is plagued by rough drawings that look like they were supposed to be improved later, either lacking detail or rendered in low resolution and blown up for HD. There's horrible compositing, some shots come across like they were assembled by people who never spoke to each other, and some animation composed of static images bobbing up and down to simulate walking. Episode 2 is Uzumaki at its artistic worst. There are some improvements in episodes 3 and 4, but it's all downhill from the premiere. The entwined snakes that motionlessly slither into a hole at the beginning of episode 2 are laughably awful. The same with what should have been the dramatic peak of episode 4, Shuichi seemingly falling to his death. The long plunge isn't animated at all. The still image of Shuichi and one of the mutated residents of Kurozu-cho simply shrinks from view. At least episode 4 is better than the 2 preceding it. A strict translation of the manga's final chapters with no other bits dipped in, it has the sense to leave a few things out. It also manages to slow the pace, but by the end, it's hard to shake the thought of what a wasted opportunity Uzumaki was. It's certain that this project, delayed by circumstances outside of anyone's control, was not what the creators intended to make. Sadly, it's what we've been left with. Before Uzumaki premiered, it could be presumed that the series' lengthy production was to ensure that all 4 episodes would be of the same high caliber as the first. It's now clear that's not the case. Strange decisions and circumstances have befallen the creative team over at Adult Swim, who have given us a mostly poor attempt at translating the rest of Uzumaki to TV with minimal animation, bad compositing, and a rushed-through story. It might be worth checking out the premiere and writing the rest off.
やっぱり渦巻きだ。
For more TV reviews, check out what we thought of Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft and The Penguin. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
になる前に早くこの街から脱出するんだ。